So I noticed this product out there that you can't really find much good info on and get a good look at on the stuff that's available on YouTube or around on the internet, even the product page. It's not clear photos and you can't see the specifics of it.
Scuds and stuff.
And that is the little Chinese adjustable preload caps that you can wind up and down as needed to get that little bit of preload change. So I figured I'd get it and I'd check it out and let you know. They're about 50 bucks Australian or 37 US shipped. There's a similar product in Australia that does the same trick, the preload adjustable fork caps. They are around $200-ish. I was curious originally about this circlip. Is that going to contact either the preload spacer or the spring and eventually want to snap off? I can see that it's probably going to be fine. The preload spacers will probably sit on the outside of it and it shouldn't really chop away at it. That was my main concern. And then you have the golden washer. It looks like it may have been heat treated. May not be correct about that. I'm not a metallurgist, so can't even say the word. Just it's got a sort of a shine to it. Whether that's going to be strong enough, I'm about to test out. Then as far as the quality of the aluminium, obviously too early for me to be able to say anything about that. But I want to check what the threads are like, how they hold up. It's set up as one giant bolt through the middle, and we'll see how that thread goes as well, and if it actually holds up to the pressure of getting jumped on with the spring all the time. One thing to note is the original fork cap accepts a 22mm socket, whereas these new preload adjustable caps, they actually accept a 24mm socket, and because the adjustment nut and the length of the shaft to give you that adjustment sticks out the top so much, you can find that the socket may not be deep enough to accept the wrench completely, which is fine. I think I'm gonna be able to still work the socket as needed with this. And the little adjustment nut is actually an 8mm, so the 8mm socket, 8mm wrench to spin that once it's actually installed on the bike, and that'll give you your extra preload, or take the preload, back it off a little bit. Now, I wasn't a huge advocate for the whole idea of a cheap as preload adjustment. I wasn't sure they're going to hold up. That's the reason I'm going to do the whole test for us, so you don't have to do the test. The thing is, it's quite fiddly having to take the fork cap off all the time to try and get that preload just right. And being that the fork preload is one of the only adjustments that we have available to us on the DR650, it's even more important to get this DR650 balanced out. It makes a massive difference. Especially if you have an oversized tank, then you want to be able to get the bike balanced to the point of being able to get your weight forward when you need it, when the tank's empty, when you're in harder pack, cornering on flat without a rut or anything, so that you can actually get the front to bite because you lose that weight in the front, or being able to get your weight back when you're in sand to keep the front from digging in. That's what the front preload's going to help you with. Many different things actually. They say it doesn't help with the actual feel of the suspension. That's rubbish, it actually does. We'll go into a bit more on that in later videos. Now that should be the last time I have to play with this suspension preload, other than twiddling with this little 8mm spanner. Okay, so I did a quick test ride on the way back from work, and it was just 15 minutes in the sand track, and I noticed the preload bolt, I had it set at 3.5 lines originally, and the preload bolt actually worked its way out to about 5 lines, and I could feel the front end dipping as I was trying to tuck more in the sand on the way around, and I was finding it harder and harder to adjust for it. So that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I done it twice. I reset it back to the 3.5 lines, which is where I was finding it nice and being able to get my weight where I needed, and then the preload bolt worked its way out again. I'll be keeping an eye on that. I might be able to maybe Loctite it, get some blue Loctite, we'll see. I'm going to have to figure this out because that's not good enough. You can't have that happening and having to adjust it all the time, every time you want to go for a ride and mid-ride. It ain't a KTM air fork. Damn! So I'll get back to you with that one. That's going to be part of my test. If you like the video, let us know by smashing that like button. It's the little thumb down the bottom of the video. Subscribe to the page for more vids. Peace!